This one thing I really love about Kurt Russell is their marriage. Well, we all thought that they were married for so many years when Kate was born. But it's the fact that their relationship lasts so long because they're not married. And it's weird that they're not in a marriage right now, but at the same time, I kind of understood why. And it's for a good reason only. Because they don't want to be dealing with ugly divorce, nasty divorce battles, nasty custody battles, and you have to pay spousal support, you have to pay child support if you divorce your wife or she divorces you. She's allowed to take everything and take half of your earnings. Like, there's a part of me that understood why they're not married, and it makes sense, basically. So, Goldie Hawn says she never married Kurt Russell because she wanted to avoid an ugly divorce and keep independent thinking. Independent thinking. Okay. I think maybe it's because you want to think independently of what you want in a relationship, as long as it's healthy and not, you know, toxic. Nowadays, I believe it makes sense, and I respect that. I really do. Which is why I'm making this video, is because it's something about this woman that just screams positive energy, and she just inspires so many people that want to get into a serious relationships and everything, even if they're not married. You know, in her mind, it makes sense. Which is why I'm understanding her reasons. You know, I feel like I just understand it more. The more I look at the picture, the more I realize, you know what, maybe if I get into a serious relationship with somebody who loves and appreciates me for who I am, without starting drama and dealing with toxic traits, you know, you can just learn from traditional couples in the world. I think chances are you're going to end up getting into a marriage because of how you two were able to practice healthy communications and getting along with each other and doing some fun activities with one another. I think in most cases it can also balance the drama and just having fun with each other. You know, even if you go through some difficult times, at least you can do is build each other up and just uplift one another and just try to stay positive in certain situations, because life is too short right now. So that's basically what I would recommend anybody who is in a difficult relationships with someone that you love. Just talk it out, work it out in order to better yourself as a human being. So that way when you get yourself together, if you're fully healed, then you'll consider jumping into another relationship with someone who is worthy of your time, someone who is a lot more fun, who is family oriented, traditional, that has respect for themselves, unlike certain people in the world. So this type of thinking from her, I like it a lot. So let's get to the article. Goldie Hawn shared why she never tied a knot with her partner of 40 years. Dang, 40 years? That's a long time though, but I think, you know what? I think it goes to show you that if you really love someone, I don't think you want to marry that person, because you already know who they are as a person, and they've been so good to you throughout the years. Why put a ring on it? Unless both of you are ready for marriage, then you shouldn't put a ring on it, because this boyfriend and girlfriend thing lasts so long. You would have think that they're married, but they're not. It's just the way they live their lifestyle in a different way with a positive energy And I think that's what the world needs right now, especially for married couples. But I think nowadays everybody's just breaking up with one another. They're going on TikTok and they're just exposing their private business for the whole world to hear and see, where it's nobody's business, first of all. Hall 77 opened up during a conversation with CNN's Chris Wallace, who asked why she and Russell aren't married. And I believe this is her response. Why should we be? Isn't that a better question? Han said. I think you already know where this is going, because she's going to give us some interesting facts on how to have a lasting, healthy relationship even if you're not married. You know, I think this works for the better because, like I said, you don't want to deal with custody battles, paying spouse support, child support. You don't want to end up going through a dark path even after you divorce. In some cases, most women that are divorced, they claim that they're happy, but they're not. While the ex-husbands are moving on, getting remarried, creating a new family that is living a healthy life. This is why some people are not married right now, because of what's going on in the court systems and why everybody is having a rough time trying to stay in a marriage, where knowing that if you're young or old and if you're not really ready for that type of lifestyle, then you shouldn't get married. Better yet, don't propose. Don't be engaged. You could just stay, as boyfriend and girlfriend, as long as, you both are keeping it healthy, happy. That's just basically what my thoughts are. So let's continue on. She continued by explaining that she and Russell have previously dealt with divorces. Hawn was married to director Gus, something I cannot pronounce his last name, from 1969 to 1976. So she was married before. So, dang. Before marrying Bill Hudson, the father of Oliver and Kate Hudson. So she had Kate Hudson from her previous marriage. I've always think that her and Kurt had Kate Hudson together, but come to find out it was from previous marriage. This is interesting. I like where this is going. From 1976 to 1982, Russell 72 got divorced from Susan Hubley from 1983 after a 4-year marriage. Woo! Dang. Let me just say this right here. As a single man that is not married or that is not in a relationship yet, I would like to think that if you set boundaries in your life, that you want to be about you and her without everybody accusing you of being insecure, that you want to allow your woman to have fun, being a hoe and all of that, then that's a problem. Maybe it's because your friends are a bad influence in your life that has encouraged you to be a 304, which knowing that you don't live that type of lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? So by reading this part, I think I'm beginning to understand why, they're not married. It's because they both have similar experiences of having a bad marriage that didn't really last long. So I get it. When it doesn't work out, it ends up being a big business, Hawn said. It's always ugly. Somebody actually has to take a look and say, how many divorces actually are fun? How many divorces actually don't cost money? How many divorces actually make you hate the person more than you did before? How many divorces have hurt children? This is why I love covering stories like this, because it gives you the best information that you never even thought about. How is this? Will they understand, or will they hate you for divorcing your mom or your dad? Because divorce sucks. Because divorces bring something ugliness out of your kids. They're gonna end up being confused, as to who they want to stay with their mom or their dad, because it sucks in life, when you're married to a person that you thought you love, or they're married to a person that they love. But it's so many questions in this part that really reminiscent of how the kids are going to end up being affected by this whole, by this ordeal with adults' problems. And I want to get to this next part where it says how many divorces that can make you hate that person that, like you did before. You don't have to necessarily hate that person, but what you could do is wish them nothing but the best in life. Even if they're not married to one another anymore, they still love their kids, and that's all that matters. They can always co-parent, But if you're someone like Tia Mowry that is promoting divorce and making it seem like it's cool, like it's a business, and if you're not considering how this will affect the kids, and you're posting thirst traps on social media, it's like we all know that deep down you're hurting in the inside and you're not really happy. But I feel like when it comes to Goldie, she's been through a lot in marriages. Her and Kurt, they both have the one thing in common. They both married. Well, both of them were married at the time, and it ended up being ugly. So it really goes to show you that marriage is not for everybody. If you're not ready for marriage, don't put a ring on it. You can always stay boyfriend and girlfriend. Even if you get old together, the love and that spark will always be there. You know what I'm saying? So this part is really interesting, and I love what this actually is saying and what she's actually is trying to say. Hawn also said she values having independence in her relationship. I like the idea that I can wake up in the morning and make decisions every day. If I want to be here, Hawn said, relationships are hard. They're not always easy. True, very true, very, very true. There's all kinds of hurdles we go through. There's things that we believe in, things we don't believe in, we agree on. Facts. Because the reason why I agree with this part is because if you get into a relationship with somebody, it's never going to be easy. There's going to be bumpy roads that you go through, and then there are things that you're going to have to break through. You go through things, you break chains together, and then you overcome the unthinkable. And I think when you go into a relationship, most couples need to go through that, go through phases in life in order to improve. And even if they have kids, you have to teach them about ways of life, So the last thing you want to do is hurt that person. But even if they do make mistakes, at least go to therapy, do some fun activities together, and make your relationships last a very long time. You don't want to last like around 5 to 6 years, It's going to get better. And so with this part right here, I love what it's trying to say. What she's trying to say also is that sometimes in relationships, it's not that easy. Not everybody is perfect. But what you can do is improve yourself in relationships. You work on yourself, she works on herself, and then when you're both ready to come back together, then it's going to be the healthiest, the best relationships both of you are in right now. But if you talk marriage, you better be ready. Be ready to deal with papers, or if you really want to get married, sign a prenup. Prenups can be a lifesaver if you're married. She added, so I think ultimately staying independent with independent thinking is important so you can hold on to yourself and you can actually have that feeling. If you do it right, then yeah, but if you do it in a negative way, in a toxic way, it's not healthy. In addition to Kate and Oliver, the couple welcomed their youngest son, Wyatt Russell, in July 1986. Russell also had a son with Hubley from a previous marriage, Boston Russell, in February 1980. So they named their child after a city. Where, but it is what it is. I think that Kim Kardashian decided to name her child North and South. It's kind of dumb, but it's weird. During the March 2019 appearance on The Voice Sucks with Laura Weiser, Kate Hudson said she learned to co-parent from her mother. Hudson had a son with ex-husband Chris Robinson in 2004, a second son with ex-fiancé Matt Balmy in 2011, and a daughter with her current fiancé Danny, I can't pronounce his last name, in 2018. Dang, so it seems like she's following her mother's footsteps by sleeping with a bunch of people and having kids by a bunch of people. But even though she's learning how to go parent with those people instead of like getting into a nasty custody battle, so at least you can do is work out your differences for the kids' sake, you know, so that way they don't have to worry about why their mom is angry all the time, why she's so depressed because of what's going on in their lives and all of that. So it's really important for you to keep a healthy adult relationship around your kids so they can grow up in a healthy environment, you know. I think the one thing that I learned from my mom is that no matter what you're feeling and no matter what, when I see my friends talking S about their exes, spouses in front of their kids, that's the killer right there. That is the ultimate killer right there. If you are talking crap about your ex in front of your child, it's going to make that child think that you hate them. You don't want to do that. Even if you're separated from your husband or your ex-fiance, you don't want to talk trash about them 24/7 because it'll get to a point where the kids are going to end up feeling really depressed and miserable because you're miserable. So you're going to have to tone that down, you know? And so I like this part as well. So don't think just because you're separated from your husband or your ex that you could just talk trash about them in front of your kids. That's a bad look on your part. And it's going to make you look crazy. And it's going to make you look evil. So you're going to have to like tone it down a bit. Or at least go somewhere in the house where it's private so they wouldn't hear you. It's going to get ugly from here, so you don't want to do that. I got so upset because they don't recognize how much that affects their child and how resentful the child will become to them. Hudson said, no matter what, I never heard a bad word about my father. Damn. Woo! Okay, this is getting good. This is getting good, y'all. You never heard any bad words about your dad. And then the part that really got me where she said it's going to cause kids to show resentment towards you because of how you've been talking trash about their dad every day. It is not healthy for them. They don't want to get exposed to that. They don't want to be around that because they're going to hear some things from you every day or whatever the case may be. And it sucks that, you know, you do it in front of your kids and you're going to make them accept it and deal with it. They're not going to want to do that. All they want to see is adults acting like adults, getting along, being happy with one another, and just try to be there for the kids. and make sure that you love them every day. I'm telling you, marriages is not for everybody, y'all. Like, no cap. Because if I do get with my girlfriend one day and we ended up talking in marriage and all of that, I'm going to be straight up with her and I'm going to be honest with her. I'm just going to tell her, look, I'm not ready for marriage right now because I don't want to go through what most married couples go through. Divorce battles, custody battles, paying spousal support, paying child support. You know, you don't want to go down that road. That's what I'm trying to say. And this is pretty much an interesting article because I feel like the more I read it, the more I understand her reasonings. And I'm sure Kurt Russell feels the exact same way. So all of this is being very well put together in this article, and I'm loving everything about it. She continued that kids are not only incredibly intelligent, but eventually they can make their own mind up themselves. They will see with their own eyes whatever needs to be seen, and they need to come to that on their own terms. It's not our place to tell them how to feel about the other parents, excuse me. I think that is so important. I think I need to read this part one more time because this is really interesting. It says, she continued that the kids are not only incredibly intelligent, but eventually they can make their minds up themselves. They will see with their own eyes whatever needs to be seen, and they need to come to that on their own terms. It's not our place to tell them how to feel about other parents. I think that is so important. You know, this is one of the reasons why I love this woman because she's so enthusiastic and she's so influential of what she says, and she says it in the most nicest way possible because when you do stuff like that, it makes people want to have conversations with you every day when it comes to certain topics because if you're honest, if you're real about yourself, I think that's going to make people want to respect you even more. And so that right there is so inspiring. And I love what she says about kids are very intelligent. They're going to see things and they're going to come to grips on their own terms and whether they will understand it or not. So the last thing you want to do is force that onto them because I think that'll pretty much cause some resentment from them towards you because of how you choose to express hatred. Don't do that as a parent. So I love what she says in this part as well. Kids are not stupid. They know what's going on. But it's the adults that need to be making some changes in the household in order for them to actually have better experience with parents, uncles, and nieces in the family, you know? You know, shout outs to Goldie Hawn here. You know, she is very honest with this. Why she's not married to him. While both of them are not married, this is why. They both had bad marriages. They both had kids by multiple partners from previous marriages, fiancés, and all of that. But the one thing they've learned is to co-parent. They have multiple kids together, and they're still together right now, but not married. And I think all of this works because, like I said, marriages is not for everybody, you know. As long as you love her, as long as she loves him, as long as they both love one another, that right there is all that matters because kids want to see both of their parents happy. And so what Goldie did here, she's had expressed how even though she's not married to him, both of them get along and they both love each other. And I think that's what most couples don't do nowadays because, like I said in the beginning in the video, everybody is so basically breaking up with one another. They go on TikTok and they talk trash about their spouse, and as soon as their exes got the real scope and then, you know, exposed them for being hypocritical, they're gonna end up feeling stupid, turning off the comments in the videos because they don't want to be held accountable for the crap they put that person through. And I don't think, listen, I don't think that TikTok is the perfect place to go and expose your business. So whatever you're going through in your personal life, keep it private, keep it quiet. You deal with it on your own. You deal with it, privately. Do not go to social media. Do not record situations unless it's important. Spread awareness. Just don't do it off of clout, basically. So if y'all want the article down below, what's your thoughts on Goldie Hawn, on why she's not married to her man? So yeah, this is a good article. I understand why she's not married to him. They're both not married to one another because they're trying to avoid divorces and court battles and all of that. That is the perfect reason, but I get it. So let me know what y'all thoughts are in the comments down below. And yeah, I'm going to catch y'all on my next one.